My parents hired Sarah to watch me and my younger brother while they worked late. At first, she seemed normal, just another college student making extra cash. But then, things got weird. She'd forget to lock her phone, and I'd see dating app notifications. She'd spend hours in the bathroom, and I'd hear whispers. Once, I caught her leading a guy through the back door. She laughed. "He's just my cousin." But I knew it was a lie. Then came that night. My parents were out and wouldn't be back until 2 a.m. Sarah put us to bed early, way earlier than usual. I pretended to sleep, but I knew something was wrong. An hour later, I heard it, the creak of the front door opening, muffled voices, hushed laughter, the clink of bottles on the kitchen table. Then, footsteps climbing the stairs. My room was at the end of the hall. The door opened slowly, soundlessly. In the darkness, I saw the silhouette of a tall man standing in the doorway. He wasn't Sarah. He was a complete stranger. My body froze. My legs trembled so badly I couldn't move. My throat locked. I wanted to scream, but no air came out. The man took a step inside, then another. He walked toward my bed and stopped inches from me. I could smell alcohol and cigarettes on him. He leaned over, and I squeezed my eyes shut, pretending to sleep. My heart pounded so hard I was sure he could hear it. Then his hand touched my arm. I went completely rigid. His fingers closed around my wrist, squeezing tight. He tugged my arm slowly, like he was trying to pull me out of bed. That's when I heard Sarah's voice in the hallway. "Mike, where'd you go?" The man let go of my arm abruptly. He turned toward the door, and I seized the chance to curl deeper into the bed, feigning deep sleep. "Mike!" Sarah's voice was sharper now, louder. "What are you doing up there?" The man slipped out of my room without a sound. I heard his footsteps rushing down the stairs. My legs still shook, but I could move again. I scrambled out of bed and darted to the door. Downstairs, Sarah was screaming,
"Get out of my house!"
Now, the sound of a struggle. Something shattered. Then the front door slammed shut. I bolted to my brother's room and locked the door behind me. He was awake, terrified. I remember him asking, "What's happening?" Before I could answer, I heard Sarah calling the police.
"Please, I need help. There's a man in my house. He tried going into the kids' room."
The police arrived within minutes. They found Mike, hiding in the backyard. He had a pocket knife on him. When they ran his record, they discovered prior arrests for assault, breaking and entering, and kidnapping. My parents fired Sarah and installed security cameras after that. But to this day, I still feel a chill when I remember that night. I was 19, studying in Ohio, and working side gigs as a babysitter to make ends meet. The ad seemed perfect. Responsible babysitter needed for 8-year-old boy, weekends. Quiet neighborhood, $25 per hour. The family lived in a 2-story house, the kind you'd picture in any American suburb. White picket fence, swing set in the backyard. It looked safe, normal. At least, that's what I thought. Mrs. Carter, a single mother, greeted me with a warm smile. Her son, Liam, was shy but sweet. As she was leaving, she tossed out casually, "Oh, Liam sometimes complains about noises in his closet. Kids, right? Just ignore it." I laughed it off, like it was just another childhood fantasy. The night started quietly. We played Monopoly, Liam took a bath, and by 9 p.m., I tucked him into bed. That's when he grabbed my wrist, hard, his eyes wide as he whispered, "He comes back every night. Mommy's boyfriend." She said he left, but he lied. My blood ran cold. Mrs. Carter had never mentioned an ex. "Just a nightmare," I said, forcing calm into my voice, but my hands shook as I adjusted his blanket. I left the nightlight on and walked out, chalking it up to a child's overactive imagination. Later that night, as I scrolled through my phone in the living room, I heard it, a faint, unmistakable creak from upstairs. I climbed the steps in silence, every footstep echoing like thunder in the still house. Liam's door, which I knew I'd shut, was slightly ajar. Inside, the closet stood cracked open, clothes swaying as if someone had just rifled through them. Then I saw them. Muddy footprints on the carpet, leading from the window, locked from the inside, but with fresh scratches around the latch, all the way to Liam's bed. Adult-sized footprints. That's when it hit me. Someone had actually been in here. I snatched Liam up and bolted to the bathroom. We barricaded ourselves inside, shoved a dresser against the door, and I called 911, my voice barely above a whisper. When officers arrived and swept the house, they uncovered the horrifying truth. In the basement, hidden behind a false wall, was a tiny space where someone had been living for months. A soiled mattress, empty food cans, and photos of the Carter family plastered on every wall, with red circles drawn around Mrs. Carter and Liam's faces. Police identified the intruder as Jason Miller, Mrs. Carter's ex-boyfriend, who'd refused to accept their breakup. Detectives said he'd planned meticulously, studying the family's routines and using his intimate knowledge of the house, which he'd helped renovate during their relationship. Mrs. Carter confessed through tears that Jason had been stalking her for months, but she never imagined he'd hide inside their home. I never saw the Carters again after that night. They moved the next day, leaving behind only whispers in the neighborhood. I'd done this job hundreds of times before. Tuck the kids in, binge a show on the couch, sneak snacks from the pantry, collect my paycheck. Easy. Safe. Routine. I arrived around 6. The parents, Megan and Carl, were heading out for a business dinner. Friendly as ever, they walked me through the routine, showed me where everything was, left emergency numbers. All normal. Emma, the 9-year-old, was sharp as a whip. Jake, 5, was shy, always clutching a worn-out teddy bear. After dinner and a cartoon, I got them both ready for bed, brushed teeth, quick story, lights out. They drifted off fast. Everything was perfect. I was lounging on the couch with cookies when the doorbell rang. I checked the clock, 9 p.m. on the dot. Weird, but I figured maybe the parents came back early, or it was a neighbor. When I opened the door, he was already there. Tall, thin, a black hoodie draped over his shoulders, hood down. He was smiling, but it wasn't a warm smile. It was rehearsed, almost hollow. "Hey," he said, casual. "I'm the kid's uncle. Carl sent me to grab Jake's tablet. Left it in my car earlier." Something inside me locked up. The name Rob meant nothing to me. The parents hadn't mentioned any relatives tonight. And yet, he spoke like he belonged here, like it was natural. Then he asked if the kids were asleep yet, and added, "The tablet's probably in Jake's closet." My skin prickled. He knew the kid's name, knew about the closet, knew too much. I forced calm into my voice. "Let me just check with Megan." I closed the door slowly, leaving only a crack. My hands shook as I grabbed my phone and dialed Megan. She answered fast. "There's a man here," I whispered. "Says he's Rob. That Carl sent him." Silence. 3 seconds. Felt like an eternity. When she spoke, her voice trembled. "We don't have a Rob in the family. Lock the house. Now. I'm calling the police." I crept back to the door. He was still there, but the smile was gone. He was staring at the doorknob, like he was deciding whether to force it. When he realized I wasn't opening up, he stood frozen for a few heartbeats, then took one step back and vanished from the porch. I thought he'd left. He hadn't. I bolted through the house, locking windows, doors, every latch. Emma and Jake woke to the noise and huddled in the hallway, wide-eyed. I pulled them close. My thumb hovered over 911. Then, footsteps. In the backyard. Slow. Dragging. Circling the house. I edged to the window and nudged the curtain aside. There he was, at the far end of the yard. And worse, he wasn't alone. Another man stood beside him. They moved deliberately, whispering. One held what looked like a crowbar or a screwdriver. I watched them test the back door, then the laundry room window, checking each lock, one by one. I froze, dragged the kids upstairs, barricaded us in the bathroom, shoved the hamper against the door. Jake trembled. Emma cried silently, trying to be brave. The sounds kept coming. Footsteps downstairs. The living room door creaking under pressure. Muffled laughter. The deck groaning under weight. They were everywhere. Like they knew the house. Like they'd done this before. I sat in the dark, clutching the kids, waiting for police. Every minute stretched into hours. They'll get in. They'll come upstairs. They'll find us. Then, silence. And sirens. Red and blue lights pulsed through the window cracks. 2 squad cars. Shouting voices. Doors slamming. When I finally came down with the officers, the house was empty. But the signs were there. Muddy footprints under Jake's window. Tool marks on the back door. A broken padlock in the garage. And behind the house, a backpack. Water. A flashlight. Protein bars. And a copy of the house key. They'd been here before. Maybe earlier that day. Maybe while the family was still home. The men were never caught. No one ever figured out how they got the keys. The only certainty? They knew too much. I never babysat again.